Born in Southampton in 1980 to Hindu parents of Punjabi Indian descent, Rishi Sunak became the third Tory Prime Minister since 2019's favourable mandate. Married to Akshata Murty, daughter of Infosys founder Narayan Murthy, they were the power couple. Sunak and his wife Akshata Murty grabbed a spot on the Sunday Times Rich list in May 2022. He was the Chancellor of Exchequer then. Sunak became the first prominent British politician to have entered the UK's wealthiest people list. From investment banker to the top spot in British politics, it's been a checkered career for Rishi Sunak. An Oxford University and Stanford graduate, Rishi Sunak's political career formally took off after he became the Member of Parliament in 2015 from Richmond, Yorkshire. A lifelong Brexiter, he campaigned for leaving the economic bloc, and he got his first ministerial berth under Theresa May as number 3 at the newly renamed Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government in 2018. At that time, the UK was a year away from election, and Rishi Sunak was a conservative young leader who endorsed Boris Johnson for the post of Prime Minister. In the successive election, Conservative Party emerged victorious, bagging 365 of the 650 seats. While Johnson continued as the Prime Minister, Sunak was rewarded with the job of Treasury Minister under then-Chancellor Sajid Javid. A year of power battle, later when Javid resigned, Rishi Sunak became the Chancellor of Exchequer or the Finance Minister.
Delighted to be appointed, lots to get on with. Thanks very much.
This made him the first Minister of Indian origin to hold one of the highest offices in the UK government. Rishi Sunak was praised during the COVID-19 lockdown for his series of mini-budgets that introduced measures such as the furlough scheme that went on to save many jobs and businesses.
Much has changed, but one thing has stayed the same. I said I would do whatever it takes. I have done, and I will do so.
He was pitted as a clear favourite to succeed Johnson as the Tory leader. In 2022, Sunak faced awkward questions about his wife's finances after she confirmed she did not pay taxes on her foreign earnings. The public anger over Murthy's tax status was heightened by her husband's decision to increase payroll taxes at a time when surging inflation left Britons facing the biggest cost of living squeeze since records began in 1956.
My wife has made her own statement about these matters. She's always followed all the rules, paid all the tax in the UK that is due and paid tax internationally on her international investments. But she recognises this goes beyond just following those rules, so she's decided to pay both UK and foreign taxes on her foreign investments, and I fully support her decision to do so.
Rishi Sunak survived, but he since has been scarred as being the privileged leader disassociated with the struggle of the middle class. Soon after Sunak's personal controversy, political crisis erupted as criticism grew of Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Dogged by scandals that included breaches of COVID-19 pandemic lockdown rules, a luxury renovation of his official residence, and the appointment of a minister who had been accused of sexual misconduct, Johnson tried to shore up his leadership in June 2022. He set out a raft of new policies to ministers after he narrowly survived a confidence vote that revealed the scale of the threat to his position. Rishi Sunak resigned on 5th July 2022, saying he had reluctantly concluded that, and I quote, "We cannot continue like this," unquote. He was accused by some in the Conservative Party of bringing down their hero, Boris Johnson, as a spate of resignations by ministers followed. 2 days later, Boris Johnson stepped down as Prime Minister.
It is clearly now the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party that there should be a new leader of that party and therefore a new Prime Minister.
Let's be clear.
This triggered a leadership election in the Conservative Party. Sunak joined the race but lost to Liz Truss. She in turn lasted for 49 days. Her mini budget offered tax cuts with little on how to fund them, leading investors to panic and sell the country's bonds in sterling. After a chaotic 49 days, financial markets were spooked, debt was rocketing, and the party deeply split. Truss was dropped by the Conservative Party and Rishi Sunak returned as party leader.
Good afternoon. As returning officer in the leadership election, I can confirm that we have received one valid nomination. And Rishi Sunak is therefore elected as leader of the Conservative Party.
I know the high office I have accepted, and I hope to live up to its demands. But when the opportunity to serve comes along, you cannot question the moment, only your willingness. So I stand here before you, ready to lead our country into the future, to put your needs above politics, to reach out and build a government that represents the very best traditions of my party. Together, we can achieve incredible things. We will create a future worthy of the sacrifices so many have made, and fill tomorrow and every day thereafter with hope. Thank you.
Rishi Sunak's appointment as Britain's fifth Prime Minister in 8 years was seen as a stabilising move, with his focus on fiscal prudence, a less antagonistic attitude to the European Union, and his success in restoring a power-sharing government in Northern Ireland. But with many of the problems he has tried to tackle, he has struggled to define what he stands for. In the next year and a half as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Rishi Sunak emerged more as a stickler for detail than a big-picture man.
We did it in COVID and we will do that again.
He even tried to turn things around by reshuffling his cabinet 7 months before he announced elections. It saw the return of former leader David Cameron and the sacking of former Interior Minister Suella Braverman. The ministerial reshuffle followed growing criticism of Braverman from opposition lawmakers and members of the governing Conservatives, enabling Sunak to bring in allies and remove ministers he felt were not performing.
Welcome, especially a warm welcome to those for whom it's their first cabinet, and also welcome to those for whom it may not be their first time. Lovely to have you all here.
Rishi Sunak.
But the public image for the Tory rule refused to improve. With plunging rating, Rishi Sunak played his last card. He announced the elections much ahead of time, perhaps hoping to surprise the wind out of his opposition's sail to shore up the sinking ship of his party.
Earlier today, I spoke with His Majesty the King to request the dissolution of Parliament. The King has granted this request, and we will have a general election on the 4th of July. Over the next few weeks, I will fight for every vote. I will earn your trust, and I will prove to you that only a Conservative government led by me will not put our hard-earned economic stability at risk, can restore pride and confidence in our country, and with a clear plan and bold action, will deliver a secure future for you, your family, and our United Kingdom.
After weathering attempts to remove him, Rishi Sunak, whose approval ratings are even worse than those Liz Truss had, entered the election with the hope that he can at least stem the hemorrhaging of support from the Conservatives.